Welcome to Life Rebounding. I want to continue to reflect today on who I am and my becoming, that phrase from the tail end of Margaret Self's book, Inner Compass. And today I want to take that phrase and look at it this way. Who I am and my becoming is learning to relinquish rather than resign. And I want to look at Exodus chapter 4, verse 13, where Moses is in conversation with the Lord about his role and what the upcoming Exodus is going to look like. And the conversation has gone back and forth. God says to Moses, "You're my man for this moment. You're the leader I've chosen for this." Moses comes back with, "Who am I? Who are you? What about them?" All the usual questions that we ask when we're trying to deflect out of a job. And that's exactly what Moses was trying to do. Until finally, God takes away all of Moses' excuses and says, "You're the one." And then Moses finally gets really honest, and he says in chapter 4, verse 13, "Oh Lord, please let someone else do it." And I have to admit that that's often been my response to the Lord's invitation to join him in something he wants to do. It's been to resign rather than to relinquish. Now, to relinquish, there are two words that relinquish and resign are two words that we use in Christian spirituality. Spiritual formation. To relinquish is to let go. To resign is to give up. That's the major difference. My default position most of my life has always been resignation. Now, I would like to call it something a little bit more virtuous, like willing or unwilling obedience or virtuous obedience, but at the end of the day, it really was just plain resignation. It was where I would grit my teeth, I would dig in, and I would say to myself, "Okay, Lord, you're going to have me do this one way or the other, so I might as well just submit and get on with it." But it's not a very healthy or happy place to be when you're in that place of resignation. Jesus told the story of two brothers who were asked by their father to go out into his fields and work. And the first one said no, but then changed his mind and went later. And the second son said yes, but then didn't go at all. And I think I probably have been that first son a lot of the times. I say, "No, I really don't want to do this," but in the end I just go and show up. And resignation is essentially this. It's doing something without heart. And my way of responding to God has often been, "Okay, Lord, I know this is what you want. I know that I'm going to end up doing this, so let's just get it over with," and so you get on with it. But relinquishment is a service that's offered to God out of heart, from the heart. It's a very different position to take before the Lord, and the way I like to think about it is, if you're canoeing, resignation is when you're heading upstream, facing a wind, and you get your paddle out, you got your top hand on, you got your middle hand on, and you're going to just dig in, head down, teeth gritted, and you're going to dig into the water and you're going to push forward. That to me is resignation. It's pushing upstream, head down, all of your energy being poured into it. But relinquishment is like going downstream. And instead of firm grip on your paddle and you're in control and digging in, your paddle's at rest on your lap and you're going with the current. And relinquishment is about the surrender of the heart. In resignation, I say, "Okay, I'm doing this under protest," but in relinquishment, I say, "Okay, I'm doing this because I love you and because I trust you." Trying to push a parked car can be interesting. One day as a teenager, a bunch of us were out walking around. There'd been a snowstorm, and we noticed that there was a lady trying to get down the street in her car. She was up against the curb, and we decided we'd be noble and try and push her out of the snowbank. So we all got pushing on the car. There were four of us all together. We pushed and we pushed and we pushed. We couldn't budge this car an inch. And so we asked her if she had her foot on the brake, which she did, which made it impossible to move the car out of the snowbank. And I think sometimes when we're in resignation, we've got our foot on the brakes pretty close to full hard on. And what I think is that a surrendered life avoids some of the collisions that are required to move a parked car. And when we relinquish out of love into trust in that one who's never let us down, that one who's never failed us. So when we say who we are in our becoming is learning to relinquish rather than resign, for me, this is a really personal one because that is an ongoing journey for me. I want to invite you to think about something. Where in the last 24 hours has God been inviting you to relinquish, to join Him in what He's doing or what He wants to do? Just take a few minutes and think about that today, and then just ease yourself into the current of God's will and God's stream, and let His love overtake you. Who I am in my becoming is learning to relinquish. It's not always easy, but I'm learning to relinquish rather than resign. May that be the choice that you make today in your love for God and your desire to serve Him.